Hello, dear friends, and welcome back to another bone-chilling journey through the world of the unknown. If you're new here, make yourself comfortable, grab a warm drink, dim the lights, and prepare for a night of eerie tales and whispered legends. This channel is dedicated to exploring the most terrifying moments ever captured on camera, delving into the dark and mysterious events that have left behind lingering presences. Tonight, we turn our attention to the realm of the truly shocking and horrifying, those rare, unfiltered glimpses into the supernatural, the unexplained, and the downright terrifying moments that were never meant to be seen. From the eerie silence of an abandoned asylum caught on a night vision feed to the grainy footage of a shadowy figure moving through a haunted forest, the world is filled with moments that defy logic and reason. These are not just stories passed down through generations or whispered in the dark. They are real, tangible recordings that have left investigators, skeptics, and everyday people alike questioning everything they thought they knew about the world around them. Whether it's the sound of a child whispering from an empty room, the sudden appearance of a ghostly figure caught on a security camera, or the unsettling footage of a person seemingly possessed by something beyond comprehension, these moments have left an indelible mark on those who have witnessed them. Tonight, we will be diving deep into the most infamous and spine-chilling moments ever recorded. Events that have sent chills down the spines of millions and sparked endless debates about the nature of reality itself. From the infamous Ohio Asylum footage, where a group of paranormal investigators captured something they could never explain, to the harrowing security camera recordings from Japan that show a man vanishing in front of his own eyes, each of these moments is a testament to the power of fear and the unknown. We'll also explore the disturbing phenomenon of shadow people, caught on camera, the eerie footage of a woman who claims to have been visited by a demon in the middle of the night, and the chilling home videos that seem to capture something lurking just beyond the edge of perception. As we journey through these shocking moments, we'll hear first-hand accounts from those who were there, analyze the footage frame by frame, and examine the theories that attempt to explain what happened, or, in some cases, why it can't be explained at all. Whether you believe in the supernatural or remain a steadfast skeptic, one thing is certain: these moments will leave you questioning what lies just beyond the veil of reality. So, if you're ready to step into the shadows of the unknown and uncover the secrets hidden within these haunting recordings, press play and join us on this spine-chilling expedition. But be warned, once you see what we're about to show you, you may never look at the world the same way again. The Shadow in Aisle 7. A terrifying encounter in a small-town Walmart. Among the countless Walmart stores that stretch across the United States, one particular location stands out for its unsettling reputation: a modest, two-story Walmart supercenter in a quiet town in rural Ohio, where the mundane act of grocery shopping has been overshadowed by a series of inexplicable occurrences. Known locally as the Shadow in Aisle 7, the store's haunting began with a single, spine-chilling encounter that would set the stage for years of eerie experiences and unanswered questions. The story starts in 2016, when a group of employees working the overnight shift reported seeing a tall, shadowy figure lingering near the toy aisle. The store was otherwise empty, save for a handful of workers stocking shelves and cleaning the floors. One of the employees, a stocker named James, was tasked with organizing a shipment of toys in aisle 7 when he noticed a peculiar absence of light near the far end of the aisle. The fluorescent overhead lights, which typically hummed with a steady glow, flickered intermittently in that section, casting long, distorted shadows that seemed to stretch and twist unnaturally. James described feeling a strange chill settle over him as he approached the darker portion of the aisle. The air grew colder with each step, and the faint hum of the store's refrigeration units seemed to fade into an oppressive silence. At the end of the aisle, near the towering shelves of stuffed animals and action figures, he froze. Standing motionless was a figure unlike anything he had ever seen, a tall, gaunt silhouette that seemed to blend seamlessly with the darkness. Its form was featureless, its height exaggerated, and its posture unnervingly rigid. James swore he could feel the figure's gaze upon him, though no discernible face was visible. Before he could react, the figure vanished. One moment it was there, an oppressive void against the brightly lit store, and the next, it was gone, leaving behind only the faint scent of burnt plastic and the lingering sensation of being watched. James, shaken and pale, called over his manager, who dismissed the encounter as a trick of the lights or perhaps a prank by another employee. But as the weeks turned into months, other workers began reporting similar sightings, each describing the same shadowy figure standing in aisle 7, only to disappear when approached. The phenomenon escalated in 2017, when a security camera captured what would become one of the most chilling pieces of evidence in the store's haunted history. The footage, grainy and low resolution, shows the toy aisle at 3:14 a.m., illuminated by the faint glow of the store's security lights. At first, the aisle appears empty, the shelves neatly lined with colorful packaging and plush toys. Then, as the camera pans slightly to the right, a dark figure emerges from the shadows. The figure, barely visible in the dim lighting, stands at the end of aisle 7. Its form is impossibly tall, its posture unnaturally still, and its arms hang limply at its sides despite its forward motion. As the camera zooms in slightly, the figure seems to notice it, turning its head toward the lens. Though its face is obscured, the footage captures a faint, red glow where its eyes should be, two pinpricks of light that seem to pierce through the screen. The shadowy entity remains motionless for several seconds before abruptly vanishing, as if it had been pulled into the void. The camera pans back to normal, showing the aisle once again empty, but the red glow lingers faintly on the footage for a few frames, leaving behind an indelible mark of its presence. The phantom child of Walmart's parking lot. Few places feel as mundane and safe as the parking lot of a Walmart, where families pile into cars and unload groceries under the harsh glow of overhead lights. But for one Walmart in rural Texas, the parking lot has become a hot spot for one of the most chilling and unexplained phenomena ever reported: the phantom child, a spectral figure that appears under the cover of darkness, only to vanish without a trace. Unlike traditional ghostly apparitions, the phantom child does not linger in the aisles or roam the store's interior. Instead, it haunts the fringes of the Walmart property, where the asphalt meets the desolate countryside, and where the echoes of a tragic past refuse to fade. The legend of the phantom child began in the late 1990s, shortly after the Walmart in question was constructed in a small Texas town. According to local lore, the land on which the store was built was once home to a modest farmhouse, where a young boy lived with his family. The boy, a curious and playful child, would often wander into the nearby fields, exploring the vast, open landscape that stretched for miles. Tragedy struck in 1996, when the boy went missing during a storm. Search parties combed the area for days, but no trace of the child was ever found. His disappearance became the subject of speculation and fear, with rumors swirling that the boy had been taken by something far more sinister than a mere accident. Decades later, in 2017, the first reported sighting of the phantom child occurred. A group of teenagers, parked in the lot late at night, claimed to see a small figure standing near the edge of the property, where the fence met the dense woods beyond. The child appeared to be holding a deflated balloon in one hand, its other arm raised as if waving for help. Thinking it was a runaway or a lost child, one of the teens stepped out of the car to investigate. As he approached, the figure turned to face him, and vanished. The teen, unnerved, returned to the car only to hear the faint sound of a child's laughter carried by the wind, a sound that grew louder before fading into silence. Since that night, numerous others have reported similar experiences. Employees working late shifts describe the faint outline of a small child standing near the dumpsters or wandering between parked cars. Some claim the child appears to follow them, only to vanish when approached. Others speak of the sound of a child's footsteps echoing through the lot, even when the area is completely empty. One particularly harrowing account comes from a Walmart manager who was locking up the store's entrance at 11:30 p.m. As he worked, he noticed a faint glow near the edge of the parking lot, where the headlights of passing cars illuminated the darkness. Thinking it was a lost tourist, he called out, asking if they needed help. The Screaming Man in the Storage Room, a haunting caught on security camera in 2018, a Walmart in suburban California became the center of one of the most disturbing and widely debated paranormal incidents ever recorded in a retail setting. Known simply as the Screaming Man in the Storage Room. The story began with a late-night employee named Daniel, a 32-year-old stalker who had worked at the store for over a decade. Daniel, a no-nonsense worker with a dry sense of humor, had never experienced anything out of the ordinary during his late shifts, until the night he encountered something he could neither explain nor forget. The incident unfolded in the early hours of the morning, around 2:45 a.m., when the store was nearly empty. Daniel had just finished stocking the electronics section and was heading to the storage room to retrieve a shipment of batteries. The storage room, located in the far corner of the store, was a utilitarian space filled with cardboard boxes, pallets, and the faint hum of fluorescent lights overhead. Daniel, carrying a flashlight and his inventory clipboard, opened the door to the storage room and stepped inside, expecting the usual quiet chaos of unopened crates and forklift tracks. What he encountered instead was far from ordinary. As he turned on the lights, the room remained dim, as if the overhead bulbs were struggling to illuminate the space. He dismissed the flickering lights as a power issue, but then came the sound, low at first, like a distant hum, but growing louder with each passing second. The noise was raw, guttural, and filled with unimaginable pain. Daniel froze, his flashlight trembling in his hand as the screaming grew more desperate. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, reverberating off the walls as though the room itself was crying out. Daniel, his heart pounding, called out to see if anyone else was present. The screaming stopped instantly, replaced by an oppressive silence that felt heavier than the sound itself. Nervously, he scanned the room with his flashlight, only to find it empty. There was no one there, no sign of movement, no indication that the screaming had been anything more than his imagination. But as he turned to leave, the sound began again, this time closer, as if the unseen entity was following him out of the storage room. The screams, which had now escalated into frantic, unintelligible pleas for help, seemed to chase Daniel as he hurried through the aisles, his breath coming in short, panicked gasps. When Daniel reached the checkout area, he slammed the door shut behind him, his hands shaking as he tried to catch his breath. He radioed his manager, who arrived moments later with a flashlight and a skeptical expression. Together, they re-entered the storage room, only to find the space eerily quiet, the fluorescent lights now fully functioning. There was no trace of the screaming, no evidence of anyone having been there. Daniel, convinced he was losing his mind, resigned from his position at the store the following week, refusing to return to the storage room that had left him so deeply shaken. Unbeknownst to Daniel, the entire incident had been captured on Walmart's security camera system. The footage, which would later become a viral sensation among paranormal circles, shows Daniel entering the storage room with his flashlight, followed by the sudden flickering of the overhead lights. As the lights dim, the camera picks up faint, distorted voices, whispers that seem to grow louder and more desperate over time. The footage cuts to static for a few seconds before returning, showing Daniel fleeing the room in a state of visible panic. On the edge of the camera's frame, just outside the storage room door, is a faint, smoky residue that lingers in the air, as if something had been there and had only just vanished. The Phantom Hitchhiker of Walmart. A terrifying encounter in the dead of night among the many unsettling experiences reported in the world of the paranormal. Few are as deeply chilling as the legend of the Phantom Hitchhiker of Walmart, a haunting that blurs the line between reality and the unknown. Unlike traditional ghostly apparitions or shadow figures, this phenomenon presents a different kind of horror, one that unfolds not within the aisles of the store but on the lonely stretches of road leading to it, where the presence of something unseen lingers like an ominous warning. The story centers around a Walmart in a remote part of Nevada, where the store sits at the intersection of a desolate highway and the endless desert sands. Truck drivers, night shift employees, and locals have long whispered of a mysterious hitchhiker who appears late at night, only to vanish without a trace. Described as a woman in her early 20s, the hitchhiker is said to wear a white dress and barefoot, her long hair blowing in the wind as she stands by the roadside, motionless and silent. Unlike typical hitchhikers who wave desperately for help, the woman never moves, her piercing gaze fixed on the road as if waiting for someone, or something, that never arrives. One of the earliest documented accounts comes from a truck driver named Thomas Granger, who was passing through the area in 2015. Driving through the dead of night, he noticed a faint, flickering light ahead. Thinking it was a stranded traveler, he pulled over and rolled down his window, offering assistance. The woman climbed into the cab without a word, her presence unnerving but not overtly threatening. However, the moment she sat down, the temperature in the cab dropped drastically, the air thickening with an icy chill. The radio, which had been playing soft music, abruptly cut out, replaced by a strange, static-filled hum that sent a shiver down Thomas's spine. Thomas attempted to engage the woman in conversation, asking where she needed to go, but she remained silent, her gaze fixed straight ahead. Her stillness was unnerving, her lack of response bordering on unsettling. Then, as he drove, Thomas glanced at the woman again, only to realize she was not breathing. Her chest did not rise or fall, her posture unnaturally stiff. Panicked, he slammed on the brakes and turned to face her, but the passenger seat was empty. The door remained locked from the inside, and no footprints or signs of her passage were visible in the desert sands outside. Since that night, numerous other drivers have reported similar encounters, each adding to the growing mystery of the phantom hitchhiker. Some describe the woman as a fleeting figure seen in their rearview mirrors, her form vanishing the moment they try to look directly at her. Others recount the overwhelming scent of lilac that fills their vehicles when she appears, a fragrance that lingers long after she disappears. One particularly harrowing account comes from a group of paranormal investigators who visited the Nevada Walmart in the early 2020s. Equipped with thermal imaging and audio recorders, the team set out to document any unexplained phenomena. As they explored the roadside near the store, their equipment captured what they describe as a sudden spike in electromagnetic activity, accompanied by the faint sound of a woman's sobs carried by the wind. When played back, the sobs were faintly interwoven with the distorted sound of a woman's voice, pleading in a language none of them recognized. The Screaming Room, a Walmart break room that shouldn't exist among the many unsettling tales associated with the suburban Walmart in suburban Michigan. One of the most disturbing involves a small, unassuming break room tucked away in the back of the store. Known to employees as the Screaming Room, this space has become infamous for its inexplicable and terrifying phenomena, with countless workers reporting chilling encounters that defy logic and reason. Unlike typical ghost stories that involve fleeting shadows or faint whispers, the Screaming Room is marked by something far more visceral, a harrowing, ear-splitting scream that seems to echo from the walls themselves, as if the room is alive with the anguish of a forgotten soul. The origins of the Screaming Room's haunting are as murky as the fluorescent lighting that flickers above its cracked tile floor. Some employees speculate that the room was once used for storage during the store's construction in the 1980s, its walls absorbing the cries of those who labored in the oppressive heat of the warehouse-like space. Others believe the room is tied to a darker history, pointing to rumors of a tragic incident involving a worker who took their own life in the room decades ago. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: the Screaming Room has left an indelible mark on those who have dared to enter. The first documented encounter with the Screaming Room dates back to 2013, when a group of overnight employees were taking a break in the small, dimly lit space. The room, already known for its oppressive atmosphere, was quiet at first, save for the occasional hum of the air conditioner. But as the group settled into their routine, the air grew unnaturally heavy, the temperature dropping sharply despite the sweltering summer night outside. One of the employees, a young woman named Sarah, was the first to notice the sound, a faint, muffled scream that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. The scream grew louder with each passing second, a raw, guttural cry that reverberated through the break room like the building was crying out in agony. The group froze in place, their voices caught in their throats as the sound reached a crescendo of desperation. Then, without warning, the scream abruptly cut off, leaving behind an eerie silence that felt even more terrifying than the scream itself. Sarah, visibly shaken, was the first to speak, her voice trembling as she asked if anyone else had heard it. The lady in red, a terrifying presence in the clothing section among the many unsettling encounters reported at the Nevada Walmart, none are as deeply chilling as the legend of the lady in red, a spectral figure that haunts the clothing department of the store, her presence both fleeting and unforgettable. Unlike the phantom hitchhiker, who lingers on the roadside, the lady in red appears within the store itself, her figure glimpsed among the racks of discount clothing and the fluorescent glow of the overhead lights. Witnesses describe her as a tall, elegant woman dressed in a flowing red dress, her face obscured by the dim lighting and the haze of the store's atmosphere. Some claim to see her standing motionless, her gaze fixed on the aisles as if searching for something, or someone, that is no longer there. Others speak of her sudden appearances, where she materializes in the corner of their vision, only to vanish the moment they turn to look. The legend of the Lady in Red has persisted for years, with countless employees and customers recounting their encounters with the spectral woman. One of the earliest documented accounts comes from a cashier named Linda, who worked the late-night shift in 2015. According to Linda, she was alone in the store, the fluorescent lights above her flickering intermittently as she counted the register's contents. As she worked, she felt a sudden chill sweep through the checkout area, the air growing heavier with each passing second. She glanced toward the clothing department and froze in place. Standing at the far end of the aisle was a woman in a long, red dress, her form partially obscured by the hangers and folded clothing. Linda described the woman as unnervingly still, her posture rigid and unnatural, her head bowed as if in mourning. Before Linda could call out to the woman, she vanished. The moment Linda blinked, the aisle was empty, the red dress and its wearer gone without a trace. Linda, shaken by the encounter, quickly locked up the register and retreated to the stockroom, her hands trembling as she recounted what she had seen to her manager. The manager, initially dismissive, later admitted that other employees had reported similar sightings, though no one could confirm the woman's identity or purpose. The phantom musician of Walmart, a melody that shouldn't be there. Among the many eerie occurrences reported in the suburban Walmart in Michigan, none are as perplexing as the legend of the phantom musician. A spectral presence that seems to possess an intimate knowledge of music, playing melodies that should not exist and leaving behind notes that no living person could have written. Unlike traditional ghostly figures, the phantom musician makes its presence known through sound rather than sight, filling the aisles with haunting strains of music that defy explanation. Some describe the sound of a violin playing itself in the distance, its notes drifting through the empty store like a forgotten lullaby. Others speak of the faint hum of a piano, its slow, mournful tune echoing through the fluorescent-lit corridors as though carried by an unseen breeze. The earliest documented account of the phantom musician dates back to 2017, when a group of overnight stalkers reported hearing the faint strains of a violin playing in the dead of night. Thinking it was a prankster with a hidden speaker, one of the workers called out, demanding that whoever was playing the music turn it off. The melody stopped instantly, only to resume moments later, this time with an eerie distortion that made the notes sound unnatural, as though the violin was being played by an unseen hand. The group, visibly shaken, packed up their work and fled the store, vowing never to return to the section where the music had originated. Since then, numerous others have reported similar experiences. Some describe the sound of a piano playing itself in the distance, its notes drifting through the aisles as if carried by the wind. Others speak of ghostly voices singing in hushed tones, their words just beyond comprehension. One particularly harrowing encounter was described by a group of paranormal investigators who visited the store in the early 2020s. As they set up their equipment in the electronics section, they recorded what they described as an unexplainable sequence of melodies, faint, distorted tunes that seemed to move through the store without a source. The team later admitted that the music grew more intense the deeper they ventured into the building, as if the phantom musician was attempting to communicate something beyond the veil of the physical world. Whether the phantom musician is the remnant of a long-lost resident, a distortion of history's sorrow, or something far more sinister, one thing remains certain. Those who shop at the suburban Walmart may find themselves forever changed by the music of the past, a haunting melody that refuses to be forgotten. The Curse Break Room, a space that shouldn't be there, tucked away in the back of the suburban Walmart in Michigan, lies a small, unassuming break room that has become the epicenter of one of the store's most chilling hauntings. Known to employees as the Curse Break Room, this space has earned its name through a series of unexplained phenomena that have left even the bravest workers shaken. From the moment one steps through its door, an oppressive atmosphere settles over the room, as though the walls themselves are steeped in sorrow and rage. Employees describe the air as unnaturally heavy, the temperature dropping drastically despite the store's climate control system. Others speak of an overwhelming sense of dread, as if something unseen is watching waiting, and silently observing their every move. The legend of the cursed break room traces its origins to the store's early days, when the room was used as a temporary storage space during construction. According to local rumors, a worker tasked with organizing supplies in the room was found dead under mysterious circumstances, his body discovered in the corner of the break room with no signs of struggle or foul play. The official cause of death was listed as a heart attack, but employees whisper of a darker truth, a tragic accident that was covered up, leaving the worker's spirit bound to the room where his life ended. Since then, the break room has become a hotspot for paranormal activity, with countless workers reporting strange and unexplainable occurrences that defy logic. The phantom music of the electronics section among the many unsettling experiences reported in the suburban Walmart in Michigan. One of the most perplexing is the legend of the phantom music, a haunting melody that seems to drift through the electronics section without a discernible source. Unlike the more visual hauntings, such as the phantom musician or the lady in red, this phenomenon is purely auditory, a spectral symphony that defies explanation. Visitors and employees alike have described hearing faint strains of music, sometimes resembling old sea shanties, other times echoing the mournful tones of a violin or piano. These melodies appear unexpectedly, often in sections of the store where no instruments or sound equipment are present, and vanish just as suddenly, leaving behind an eerie silence that is somehow more terrifying than the music itself. The earliest documented account of this phenomenon dates back to the late 1990s, when a group of overnight stalkers reported hearing the faint sound of a piano playing itself in the electronics section. Thinking it was a prankster with a hidden speaker, one of the workers called out, asking them to turn off the music. The melody stopped instantly, replaced by an unsettling silence that stretched for several agonizing seconds before the tune resumed, this time louder, more distinct, and accompanied by the faint sound of a violin joining in. When the group cautiously approached the source of the music, they found themselves standing in front of a wall of televisions, none of which were turned on. The workers, visibly shaken, quickly packed up their supplies and fled the section, later admitting that the music had felt almost alive, as though it was not just a recording or a trick of the mind, but something far more sinister. Since that night, numerous others have reported similar experiences. Some describe the sound of a piano playing itself in the distance, its notes drifting through the aisles as if carried by an unseen breeze. Others speak of ghostly voices singing in hushed tones, their words just beyond comprehension. One particularly harrowing encounter was described by a group of paranormal investigators who visited the store in the early 2000s. As they explored the electronics section, they recorded what they described as an unexplainable sequence of sounds, faint, distorted tunes that seemed to move through the air without a source. The team later admitted that the music grew more intense the deeper they ventured into the store, as if the phantom musician was trying to communicate something beyond the veil of the physical world. Whether the phantom music is the lingering presence of a long-forgotten musician or merely a distortion of the store's history and atmosphere, one thing remains certain. Those who shop in the electronics section may find themselves forever changed by the haunting melodies that should not be there. A reminder that some songs carry the weight of the past and refuse to be forgotten. As we bring this journey through the most terrifying true horror stories to a close, one thing remains abundantly clear. Fear is not just a reaction to the unknown, it is a force that lingers, a shadow that refuses to fade. From the eerie corridors of the Ohio Asylum, where a group of investigators captured something they could never explain, to the chilling footage of a man vanishing in the middle of a crowded subway train, each of these stories serves as a testament to the power of the unexplained. The phantom hitchhiker of Highway 44, the demon in the bedroom, and the screaming house in Tennessee, all of these accounts, whether rooted in the supernatural or something far more inexplicable, have left an indelible mark on those who experienced them. What makes these moments so terrifying is not just their eerie nature, but the fact that they were captured on camera. These are not just stories passed down through generations or whispered in the dark, they are real, tangible recordings that have sent chills down the spines of millions and sparked endless debates about the nature of reality itself. Whether you believe in the paranormal or remain a steadfast skeptic, one thing is certain: these moments will leave you questioning what lies just beyond the veil of the ordinary. So, dear friends, as we part ways for now, I leave you with this thought. The next time you find yourself in an empty hallway, a quiet bedroom, or a deserted parking lot, take a moment to listen, not just with your ears, but with your instincts. Who knows what stories may be waiting to be uncovered, what whispers of the past may still be carried on the wind. Whether you are a believer, a skeptic, or simply someone who enjoys a good ghost story, the echoes of these haunting moments remind us that history is never truly silent. It speaks in hushed tones, in flickering lights, in the lingering sense that you are not alone. If you enjoyed this journey through the most terrifying true horror stories ever recorded, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales. Share your own experiences in the comments below. Have you ever encountered something unexplainable in an ordinary place? What other true horror stories would you like to see explored in future episodes? Your curiosity fuels this channel, and I can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, sometimes the past isn't as far behind us as we think. Thank you for watching, and may your own journeys through the unknown be filled with wonder, mystery, and just the right amount of eerie anticipation. Good night, and sweet dreams, if you dare.